Hello, welcome back to A Boring Revolution, your number one news source for everything in regards to The Boring Company. This is the only YouTube channel dedicated to The Boring Company. I cover news every week regarding the projects. It continues to be a very, very exciting space. Hence why I'm so surprised no one else is doing this. But hey, I've got this whole space to myself and the good news keeps coming, guys. Great news. Apparently, Elon Musk sat down with the president of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, and they discussed about building tunnels in Israel. Now, details in regards to where they're going to build these tunnels is pretty thin on the ground. They don't even say what cities they're going to be linking. However, the fact that they've had this conversation and it's with the actual president of Israel, who obviously has a lot of power, this is a really good thing. So, let's have a look at the news. To be very, very frank and honest with you, every single news source that I've read today basically says the same thing. They're basically just a copy of each other. There's not really that much information, but I'm just going to have a quick chat with you, tell you why this is a really good development, why the Boring Company should get into Israel. It's a great, great country. It's already doing phenomenally well considering its history. And it has the potential to become a real powerhouse in the Middle East and continue to grow. So, first of all, let's have a look at this article here. Elon Musk's tunnel digging technology developed by the Boring Company is being eyed by Israel as a potential solution to the country's traffic and public transportation woes. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu revealed at a recent campaign event that his government was in talks with the serial entrepreneur about tapping into the Boring Company's tunneling solutions to address infrastructure concerns. And this is kind of the quote that's in every single news article. I met a man they called Elon Musk. Have you heard of him? Obviously they have. He is a real genius, not Jesus. He is Jesus to me anyway. Netanyahu said, as published in a report by Bloomberg. So, obviously, Israel has an excellent reputation as a country that really develops startups. There have been a lot of startups that have been founded in Israel that have gone to form billion-dollar companies. Considering there's only around 10 to 12 million people in Israel, the fact that they've produced so many billion-dollar companies is a huge success in itself. However, the potential of this country is being sapped by the fact, number one, geography, and number two, the failure to invest in public transport. If you have a look at Israel on the map, it is a long, thin country. And to make things even worse, because of all the conflict in the country, it's incredibly thin in the middle here. So trying to get from the north to the south of Israel is obviously a difficult endeavour because of the way the geography of the country. The main cities, obviously you've heard of Jerusalem, very controversial city. Obviously that's split in half between Israel and the Palestinians. I'm unsure whether it would be a good idea building in Jerusalem. However, Tel Aviv is obviously one of the biggest and fastest growing cities in Israel. That is where all the best universities are, where all the best amenities are in Israel. It would make sense for potentially the Boring Company to start building tunnels in Tel Aviv, maybe linking a couple of these other cities on the list here. Haifa. Again, they're not big. I mean, just to give you a sense of scale, I live in a city called Bolton in Greater Manchester. In Greater Manchester, the actual urban area is around 2.8 million people. So straight away, that's even more than the top 7 combined. And Bolton itself has a population of around 286,000. So if Bolton was in Israel, that would be the 3rd largest city in Israel. So there's not really big cities in Israel, but somewhere like Tel Aviv and Haifa would be the perfect place to put boring tunnels, linking up the populations. What else has been said? Not a great deal. It's mainly, these news articles are mainly saying the same thing. Just a brief history on the actual Boring company. Musk and Netanyahu talked on the new tunnel project over breakfast, discussing Israel's transportation network and about the tunneling technology. Israel's public transportation system is beset by one of the developed world's worst, also most congested traffic pattern issues. While the country's traffic rises, the population of Israel is rising quite quickly due to high birth rates, and also there's been an influx of immigration, which is good for the Boring company and good for the country as well, because the GDP will be increasing quite rapidly, and it has been. Let's have a look at a few more articles before I start talking about why I think this is a great idea. So again, another quote from Benjamin Netanyahu. Right now we're in conversation with him to see if we can tunnel the state of Israel. This comes from worldisisraelnews.com. If I was going to recommend one article to read, I'd recommend this one on Teslavati. Every article basically says the same thing, guys. So, what are my honest opinions on this project? Is this another Australia project, like the one going over the Blue Mountains near Sydney? I mean, the project in Australia might still happen, but I think there's a real great deal of potential here for this project to start. I believe that if anyone's going to invest in this kind of project, it will be the Israelis. I believe that they can really sort of make this happen quickly. There's not going to be a huge set of regulatory hurdles in the way. If Benjamin Netanyahu's currently in an election campaign, so technically he could be gone in the next couple of weeks. Who knows? Chances are he probably will stay, but we'll have to see. But if he does stay, he could make it very easy for the Boring company to build in Israel. If that's the case, obviously that's going to attract Elon Musk, because he doesn't like, all these regulations getting in his way. I think he should really push this. He should think about building a tunnel in Tel Aviv. Maybe only a short tunnel of around, say, let's say a dual tunnel of around 8 or 9 miles long. Make sure it's a nice long straight tunnel, keep it as simple as possible, and then we can grow from there. Once we've built one tunnel in Israel, we can prove that we can do it on budget and to the specification required. Once we have high-speed pods running in that system that are autonomous, I guarantee you they'll want to expand it. This is easy money. The one thing that Israel should be looking to do is eliminating congestion, because congestion is really holding back that country. Because of its geography, because of the position that cities are in that state, there are always going to be problems with congestion. They're either going to have to build new cities in new locations, which is difficult to do, or make public transportation very easy and eliminate congestion. And the safest way to do that is with the Boring company and Elon Musk. I'm pretty confident that this project is going to get potentially the go-ahead, hopefully maybe late next year. Hopefully we'll get some more concrete details. It's all a bit vague at the moment, which is a bit disappointing. I wish they'd mentioned some cities, some potential routes, because it's very difficult to talk about this when we don't even know in what city or town it's going to be located. It's near on impossible to talk about. And all the media is basically saying the same thing. So we just don't know anything. All we know, essentially, if we're going to be blunt and honest about this, all we know is that Benjamin Netanyahu sat down with Elon Musk. They talked about tunnels. Benjamin said, look, I want a tunnel in Israel. Elon Musk said, yeah, I'll help you build one. Let's talk about it some other time, and that's that. There's not really any concrete plans, but hopefully we'll hear something in the next few months, because this is not a million miles away from where I live. It'd be easier for me to get to Israel than it is to get to LA. It's about a 5-hour flight for me to get to Israel, so this would be absolutely perfect. Obviously, I'd like a project to be built in Manchester or Liverpool or Leeds or somewhere near where I'm based. But I think another big potential opportunity here is the actual state of Israel will fund or part fund this project. Or maybe they'll just loan the Boring Company the money. That might be a better option. To say, look, if you want to set up a public transport system in Tel Aviv, we're happy to loan you $200 million, but the interest rate is going to be 7%, and you've got to ensure to us that this project is completed within the next year or 18 months. And that would be perfect for Elon Musk, because he likes a challenge. He likes the fact that he owns the project and he can do what he wishes with it. He could easily, be charging $4 or $5 per journey in Israel. I think the people of Israel would be happy to pay that to avoid the congestion. That means it's going to be fairly easy for even a short tunnel of around 6 or 7 miles to make reasonable money to start off with. Once he can prove the business model, once he can say, hey, these are my gross margins, this is my investment, this is how much money I'm paying back in interest. After all that's been done, I'm still making a reasonable profit of, a few $1,000s per day. If I extended this tunnel by another 20 miles, I could increase my gross margins, I could increase my overall turnover by, 40-50%. Therefore, it makes perfect sense to do it. Then you can expand it exponentially across Tel Aviv, maybe across the whole of Israel. Why not link northern Israel and southern Israel with, a series of tunnels? It'd be a hell of a lot quicker than going by the current system of dual carriageways. And there's not that many dual carriageways in Israel, really, when you sort of get outside the big cities. So there's a lot of potential here, guys. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm going to leave it at that. Once I get more details, I will come back with another episode. I appreciate that I've not really got much to tell you today, other than what you've probably already read. But what I will say, I'm very excited about this project. I think this is, in terms of, is this going to happen? I'd say around the let's say 60 to 70% mark. I think this will happen. I think it'll start small and then it'll expand exponentially over a period of a few years. And, hopefully Benjamin Netanyahu gets re-elected and we can get this going. Fingers crossed. All right, guys, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you tuning in. If you've not done so, please subscribe to this channel. Please join us on Discord or Instagram, or even better, join us on Twitter. I'm on Twitter. I'm fairly active on Twitter. If you want to get in touch with me, if you want to learn more about the Boring Company or the sort of projects, direct message me or even message me on one of my posts and I'll get back to you. Thank you for listening, guys. Have a great day. And remember, don't be boring. See you soon, guys.